Picture this, the lightweight legend Bruce Lee going head-to-head with the heavyweight monster Mike Tyson. In one corner, you've got Iron Mike, a boxing legend who built his whole reputation on absolutely brutal knockouts. And across from him, a total blur of motion, Bruce Lee, the Jeet Kune master, famous for lightning-fast strikes and agility nobody could touch. These two guys couldn't be more different. Different weight classes, different styles, different everything. And they're about to collide in a hypothetical throwdown to figure out who'd actually come out on top in a no-holds-barred fight. So who's your money on? Because this isn't your typical boxing match. We're tossing the rulebook out the window and stepping into the wild, unpredictable world of an old-school street brawl. Let's break down what each of these warriors is bringing to the table. First up, Bruce Lee. And look, Bruce wasn't your average martial artist. Born in San Francisco's Chinatown, he got his first taste of Tai Chi from his dad at just 6 years old, then picked up some Hung Gar as a child actor. But things got real in his teenage years, when he officially started training Wing Chun under the legendary Grandmaster Yip Man. And get this, he even won a high school boxing tournament before heading back to San Francisco. During what you might call his Kung Fu obsession phase, Bruce dove into more than 10 different styles, soaking up bits and pieces from each one. But here's the thing about Bruce. He was never satisfied just copying other people. He wanted something more fluid, more adaptable. And that hunger led him to create Jeet Kune Do, the way of the intercepting fist. That style was all about speed, efficiency, and hunting down an opponent's weak spots. But honestly, Bruce was way more than just a fighter. The guy was a philosopher, constantly tweaking and refining his craft. Between his charisma and his groundbreaking techniques, he became a global superstar and shattered a ton of stereotypes about Asian actors in Hollywood. Pretty incredible when you think about it. Now, on the other side of the world, a completely different kind of legend was taking shape. Mike Tyson's story starts rough, like, really rough? Born in Brooklyn in 1966, life didn't hand him any favors. Trouble followed him everywhere, and by the time he was 13, he'd already been in more scrapes with the law than he could even count. That's around when Mike crossed paths with a legendary trainer named Cus D'Amato. Cus took him under his wing and became this father figure and mentor rolled into one. Together, they built up Mike's game using a special style called peekaboo. As an amateur, Mike started racking up gold medals like it was nothing. And everybody was buzzing about this young kid with insane speed and knockouts that seemed to come out of thin air. He turned pro at 18 and won his very first fight by knockout. First round, done. And he just kept doing that, fight after fight after fight. By the age of 20, Mike became the youngest heavyweight champion the world had ever seen. They called him Kid Dynamite, and trust me, he earned that name. He dominated boxing in his early 20s, unified all the heavyweight titles, and became the undisputed king of the ring. Now, was his reign controversial? Absolutely. Personal struggles and a polarizing fighting style definitely put some dents in his image. But you cannot deny the man's talent or the sheer force he brought every single time he stepped through the ropes. So if these two titans actually squared off in a no-holds-barred fight, who wins? Let's dig in. Mike Tyson's a heavyweight beast, so it's easy to just assume he'd tower over Bruce Lee. But here's a fun fact that surprises people. Tyson's only about 3 inches taller, and their reach is roughly the same. Bruce being the shorter guy doesn't matter as much as you'd think. The real gap between them is weight. In his prime, Tyson fought at nearly 80 pounds heavier than Bruce, and that weight, combined with the freight train power behind his punches, could realistically knock Bruce out cold with a single shot. But, and this is a big but, raw power isn't the whole story. Bruce may have had a smaller frame, but he turned his body into a straight-up weapon. Explosive, agile, precision-tuned. His Jeet Kune Do was all about reading your opponent, dismantling their weapons, and getting the job done as fast as humanly possible. That kind of speed could let Bruce close the gap on Tyson and unload with those lightning-quick attacks he was famous for. Now, when it comes to pure skill, this comparison gets tricky, because Tyson is genuinely one of the greatest to ever lace up gloves. In the boxing department, the man is elite, and I've noticed Bruce Lee fans love to point to all the martial arts styles he studied as proof he's the better fighter. But honestly, I think that's kind of missing the point. Bruce's real message was about being able to handle every range of combat. Kicking range, boxing range, grappling range, all of it. So yeah, if we're talking versatility across ranges, Bruce takes it, no contest. But here's the question that keeps me up at night. Does being more well-rounded actually make Bruce better than Tyson at the one thing Tyson does better than almost anyone in history? That's where it gets murky. And look, fights are chaos. Bruce's adaptability and ability to think on the fly could absolutely be his edge, using his quickness to create openings and take down a much bigger guy. But don't forget, Tyson can be just as unpredictable. He grew up brawling in the streets too. And as anyone who remembers the Holyfield fight knows, the ear thing, you know what I'm talking about. Mike can go completely off script, even in the biggest fight of his life. So really, all bets are off. So how might this thing actually play out? Picture it, Bruce Lee on one side, Mike Tyson on the other, and you can practically feel the tension in the air. Tyson explodes forward, a blur of muscle and fury. Bruce dives to the side, the wind from Tyson's missed punch whipping past his ear. Using those insane reflexes, Bruce fires back with a barrage of strikes designed to completely rattle Iron Mike. Tyson roars, frustrated, his raw strength making him a bull in a china shop. Bruce, tiny by comparison, weaves through the attacks like water and lands a clean side kick right to the knee. Tyson buckles for a split second. But Iron Mike is a force of nature. He powers through the pain and clips Bruce on the shoulder. That jolt breaks Bruce's rhythm for just a beat. And before he can reset, Tyson uncorks a devastating right hook. It lands flush on the jaw. And just like that, lights out. Now, that's just one way this could go down. And like I keep saying, fights are unpredictable. So who really knows? Personally, I flip-flop on this one every time I think about it. I've spent way too much time reading online debates about this exact matchup. And man, the takes are all over the place. Some folks genuinely think Bruce fought like he did in the movies. Others swear he barely trained and never did any real sparring. Which, come on, that's just not true. Steve Golden, a student from the LA Jeet Kune group, said Bruce could stick his fingers in anyone's eye at will. And Bruce Lee historian John Little has talked at length about how much time Bruce poured into training eye pokes and finger jabs. So who's to say Bruce wouldn't open the fight by immediately wrecking Tyson's knees and going for the eyes? In a no-rules brawl, that changes everything. That's what makes these debates so fun, right? The what-ifs are endless. So I want to hear it. Who do you think takes this one? Drop it in the comments and let's keep the conversation rolling. And hey, this video was never about definitively crowning a winner. It's a celebration of two incredible fighters who pushed their disciplines to the absolute limit. Bruce Lee, the philosopher warrior. Mike Tyson, the living embodiment of raw power and one of the greatest boxers to ever do it. Both of them left a permanent mark on combat sports, and that's something worth appreciating no matter which side of the debate you land on. If you're into these fantasy matchups, stick around. There's plenty more where this came from. Go check out one of our earlier showdowns between Steven Seagal, the wildly controversial Aikido master, and Frank Dux, the guy who's supposedly such a good ninja that nobody actually believes he's a real ninja. And if you're in the mood for some real history, we just dropped a video on the 5 real fights that defined Bruce Lee. Definitely worth a watch. That's it for me. Keep training, remember to breathe, and come holler at me in the next one.